Aha, there we are. Took me a second. So welcome to another live with me, Jessica from the Tunisian Crochet Graphghan Boutique. I will give everybody a minute to pop on here. We had some questions last time about hanks, so I'm going to talk about those and answer those and make that easy for you guys. We have a free pattern tonight since a lot of us, the 4th of July is over, so we're in the Halloween mood. So whether you just decorate for fall or you decorate for Halloween, we have a pattern coming up for that. That'll be the freebie tonight. We have, let's see, we have a few patterns coming. Anna just tested some of them, so I'm sure you've seen the Tunisian round hot pad floating around, but that is the freebie that's coming up. Excuse my walls, I'm trying to pick a paint color for the kitchen. I like this bright pinkish tone because I do a lot of, I have a lot of wine decor, so I'm probably going with that color. So, hey Lisa. So we had some questions about hanks, and last time you guys seen me unwrap a hank, which you just twist and then pop the end over. When you untwist them, you're going to grab them and they're going to open up. Some hanks will have several strings tied around them, and when you take the string and you look at it, you'll see that the string hangs down and it wraps all the way around and is not connected to the yarn. This hank does not have those. So you usually cut those off, and then this one has a strand, and as you can see, when I pull this up, it's looped around this hank. So when I pull on this, you can see the kind of orange here that starts to pull up. That is one end of the hank, and this is the other end, and they tie a knot in it. Thank you, Sandra. So what you're going to want to do is you can either untie this, or you can get a pair of scissors and you can cut on each side of your knot. And what that's going to do is that is going to be the beginning and the end of your hank. So it is very important when you pull your hank out, after you untwisted it, that you lay it out and you really look, because like I said, some of the hanks, oh, they've got 2 or 3 of those knots around them that all you have to do is just lightly go in and give them a tug. And posting in group post as is not allowing hyperlink again. Of course it's not. Facebook fixed stuff. Yeah, so the pattern tonight you'll go over into the group and grab. It'll be posted under the comments section in the live. So when you go into the group, you'll see that Sandra shared this. Go and don't click on the live, click on where she posted up above, and you'll see a comment come up, and that will be that. So, like I said, you want to carefully check that, because if you cut the wrong one, you're going to be a little sad, because I've cut one a little bit too short one time and learned the hard way, which I think we all have those lessons. But as I was saying, you can just untie your end, which is what I'm doing as I'm speaking with you. You can either untie it or you can cut on each side of the knot, and no matter which you choose to do, you're only cutting that little bit off, which would be the knot on each side, so it really doesn't matter. I am one of those ones that I love when my friends get tangled yarn and they're like, Jess, I got some tangled yarn here and I'm about to lose my mind. Because for me, some people like to play cards or read or whatever, but to me, I could sit and untangle yarn for hours. It's very relaxing to me. Others say that when they have to untangle something, they're ready to lose their ever-loving mind. So, whatever makes you relaxed. Whatever therapy you need. For me, untangling yarn is relaxing, so I don't mind doing it at all. So I've been busy because with summertime being here, we do a lot of family things. So we've been doing some family things. Lisa said I like to untangle yarn too. Yeah, I find it super relaxing. You get a good neck light on, and oh gosh, I could sit and untangle yarn for hours. So it doesn't frustrate me. I mean, I won't intentionally make a knot when I frog something, but you know, if I get a knot in it, I can sit there and do this, and it's very relaxing. There's times where I'll just sit outside with my yarn and untangle stuff. Michelle says she likes to do it too. Yeah, I think there's something therapeutic about, and a sense of accomplishment too. You know, when you're done and you have it and you've got it untangled. It's almost like finishing a puzzle, I guess you'd say. You know, you have a sense of accomplishment that you got it out, and, you know, a sense of pride. And other people are like, yeah, I just cut that and go. But yeah, so we've had some family things going on. We went to the zoo. We live by Pittsburgh, so we went to the Pittsburgh Zoo and walked around there and had a very good day there with family and ate, and oh my gosh, are things so expensive anymore. It just, you know, you can't go anywhere anymore with kids cheap. So once you have your yarn and it's untangled or cut, hubby untangles mine, you're going to see underneath, they usually have it crisscrossed. So you're going to flip it over a little bit, and you'll see that crisscross, and at that point you can take one end and pull it out from that cross, and then the other end. Okay, once you have that done, if you lay your hank down, you're going to see that this strand here, for me, is on the outside of the yarn. This strand here, when I go to pull it, you can see it's kind of tucked onto the inside here as I untwist. See how it's kind of coming from the center here? Let's see if I can turn it a little bit more. It's kind of coming out. So when you do that, you want to look at both ends and see which end is coming off of the top the easiest, because some people were asking, if I don't have a winder, you know, how can I do this? So my recommendation, and what I usually do, is with the chairs that I have in the kitchen, I will take those chairs, and you can put your hank over the chair so that your hank is hanging around the back of the chair like this, or you can do it with two chairs. It just depends on how much you have to work with, the width of your chair. Some people, like some of the companies that I've gotten yarn from, they wind a hank, but their hank is only about this long when it's undone. Others, like this one, they have it, you know, pretty long here. This is with my arm outstretched. So once you have it on the back of the chair and you know which side is going to be the easiest to unroll, like I said, when you start to pull on that tail, you can see like this one is on the outside and not wrapped under strands. Other times when, let me turn this, see this side, when I start to pull it up, you can see that this is starting to be under this strand here. So you're going to know that that strand right there is more the underneath piece. So once you have that determined on what side you're going to pull, I gotta find my other end here since I twisted it. There we go. For us, since I pulled this one. And then once you put this over the back of the chair, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure when you pull your strand, see how this side is coming from the up, yeah, see how this is coming out from the top. You want to make sure, since you twisted your hank a little bit, that this side is all up. So I pulled from here, this side is up, and when I pull this strand, it's still coming from the top. So when you put it over your chair, you want to make sure that that stays on the top and is on the outside. So then when you do that, you won't get knots or twists or whatever else as you're unhanking it over the chair. For the bobbin purposes, if you want to do a center pull, let me hang this over the back so it does not get tangled. A lot of people like to do a center pull. For wool and everything else, when you wrap this, you do not want to go tight because wool will stretch out, which is why if you go to like an actual local yarn store, they won't wrap your yarn until you're ready for it. Usually they won't unhank it. They tell you not to because it stretches these fibers out. So what I like to do is I take my tail and I stick it up in the air, and then you're going to bring this from behind and you're going to kind of hold this. Some people do it between 2 fingers. Some people like to hold it between their ring finger and then go behind your pointer finger, and then you are going to start to wrap in it's like a figure 8. So you're going to go over the thumb, under the finger, over the thumb, under the finger, and you just keep wrapping like this, and this piece will stay out. And then, since I don't have this hank wrapped very well, once this gets a little bit thick, you're going to take it off of both of the fingers and you'll fold it over and it'll have a hole in it. You're going to take that and you're going to leave your tail. Your tail's going to stick out. This is the, not the working yarn, this is your tail end. And then you're going to wrap this. And as you wrap this, you want to make sure that you don't catch your tail. So depending on what hand you are, is depending on what area you want your tail at. For me, I'm right-handed, so a lot of times I will wrap left-handed. So I have my tail here, and I will just start to wrap. I do things a little backwards because being right-handed, I'm more ambidextrous than I am one-handed. So if you were to do it right-handed, you would put your tail hanging down and you would just wrap, and you just want to make sure that you go around that tail, and you're going to wrap this into a ball. So as you wrap, it's going to be like any of us that have ever balled up yarn. You're going to wrap, and it's going to get to a point where you feel like, oh, you know, this end needs more. So you're going to make sure your tail goes up over the top, and then you're going to wrap across. And then when you're done, you just grab your tail and you pull it, and all of this yarn in here will come undone, so you can crochet from that yarn, and you won't have any tangles or anything else. And sometimes you may get a point where it's a little bit tight because you might have turned at that point, but all you have to do is give it a tug, and all of this yarn will just come out of here. These usually work a little bit better. It comes out a lot better when you've actually got your ball kind of wrapped. I don't have it wrapped real good, so but anyway, you just pull and all that will come undone. So for working from a hank, I find that that is the best way to do it, and to work over the back of a chair, or you know, whatever you have that's bigger. You can have somebody stand and hold this as well. So it's just going to depend on how much room you have and what you want to do, and what direction you want to go with it. So this is my tail that I wasn't using to wind, so this is going to have to come over the top and be tugged down, and then my working yarn. So see if I can get that wrapped back up a little bit. So once you have, and I know this is going to be a bit fiddly because, like I said, we've worked with this, but once you have your yarn and you have it, you know, on your hands like this, then what you do again is you just twist it, and you just keep twisting. And a lot of times I will make sure that I take my fingers and just put my thumb through here. You want enough room that you can put something in there and it's not super tight, and you're going to wrap until this gets really tight. And then a lot of times I'll take my elbow and it causes it to go over itself. And you're just going to take this end, you're going to open your thumb hole up, you're going to pop that in there and pull that off, and then give your hank a little pull, and it'll twist right back to the way that it was. So hopefully that answers some questions about working with a hank. I know that they can be fiddly, and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you know, I started with this and I can't get it. It does take a little bit of patience to figure out like what end you're supposed to be working from. And a yarn swift is super nice and super easy, but again, if you start swifting from the wrong end, then you have to stop and turn your hank. So it does take a little bit of patience. Liz has her husband do hers. I think there are quite a few of us out here that do not like to do yarn, that are like, oh, he's a keeper. So we have the hot pad. We did a poll in the group with the hot pad. What you guys wanted to see is the next tea-cow. We have a hot pad and the keyhole or the keyhole, oh my gosh, my brain tonight, the keyhole stove towel. So I have a keyhole stove towel that is hung up on the stove. I'm going to go get it, and I will show you a little bit about that. This was the prototype, so the top is not correct at all. Okay. So the top of these on yours will be much shorter than this, but I designed this thinking this would, you know, need to be longer, but it does not need to be. So we have edited the pattern, so now it comes down at a little bit of an angle and goes across, so that all you have is this little piece across the front. I do have the piece across the front that has some designs and some other stuff on it. This pattern is a pretty easy pattern in the sense that if you can bind off and you can Tunisian simple stitch and you can Tunisian purl stitch, then you can do this pattern. You do have some counting to do to achieve your hole that's in the center. What this does is when you do your first side, then you when you do your return pass, you will bind off certain stitches here, and then you will cut your yarn, and you're going to start from the other side, because that makes this two-sided, because this has the right side and this one here has the wrong side, because when you put it up, thank you, Lisa, have a good evening and good luck with the dogs. When you put this on your stove, you have the correct side, and you have your handle, and when you put this on, you loop that over, so then this comes down through this, so then you have both sides together. So it's not that hard to do. It's just the first couple times that you do it, you're going to be like, oh crap, how do you put this thing on? You want the top underneath the handle, so you're going to have your handle sticking out here. You're going to go under the handle. So when you go under the handle, this piece comes through and gets pulled. Of course, it's going to be fiddly now. This piece gets pulled through the hole, and then it's going to come down, and then that's going to hang with this piece. And like I said, the way that we've designed it now, this piece will only be like this long. So then this will hang over the handle so it won't fall off, and you can dry your hands and everything else, and you can tug on this and it's not going to go anywhere. So a couple of the pieces that we have actually are going to have designs that are designed into it, and I have a couple testers that are looking for different patterns that they want up on the top. So I'm working with those testers right now so that they can have what they want on their kitchen. We're going to have, one of them wants a little wine glass, so we're going to have a wine glass. and we have a few other ones that are coming. So the top of your piece will kind of look like this, and have the white. So it's okay, Sherry. Different time zone, you lose track of time because we're early for you guys. But anyway, that's what we're going to have, and we have the Tunisian in the round hot pad, which is a use a double-ended hook, or you can use the cabled hook with a hook on each end. You can use 2 colors. There's going to be a more advanced one, and there's going to be an easier one. The easier one, if you've never done one before, I would recommend using 2 colors, one for your forward pass, one for your return pass, because then you'll be able to see, to build the foundation so that you understand what you're making. So when you do make one in one color, then it's going to be easier to follow along with what's going on. And stitch markers are going to be important, because as you're working in the round, it's easy to lose track on what's the front, what's the back, and the sides. Because when you're working kind of in a spiral, when you get done and you have to close it, you count up one side and you're like, oh, I got 22 rows here, and then you count up the one other side and you're like, oh, I got 23 rows there. So it's easier to keep track of that. If you need to frog in the round, it is easier to put a stitch marker in your front vertical bar and your top horizontal bar for your cast off, because then when you frog back and you get to that point where your mistake was, then you can just easily pull on one of those yarns and see if that is the return pass, because it'll pull out the top stitch, or if it is the forward pass, because then it'll pull out your vertical bar. So, you know, frogging in the round is not as hard as you might think. Just find your mistake and put a stitch marker in the horizontal bar and the vertical bar in the front, and that will lock your forward and return pass in, so as you're frogging you won't lose that. But you need to make sure that you catch both of those stitches, because you're going to be frogging 2 skeins of yarn, so you're going to be frogging one color over here and the other color over there. And when you're working in the same color, it's hard to see, a little bit hard to differentiate between the forward and the return pass. But so these are the 2 options that we have for the decal that's coming up. We have the keyhole towel and the Tunisian in the round hot pad. So I hope that everybody goes over there and votes on Melinda's poll so that we have an answer for that. We also gave the option on the poll for you guys to put in what you guys would like to see as well. So those may be a future cal that we may do. Oh, excuse me. So I hope that answers the questions we had last time about unwinding a hank without a swift, and also gets everybody kind of excited about the new patterns that we're going to do. And like I said, I am working with a couple testers right now for the keyhole, the towel, because it's going to have a little design on the front. And like I said, tonight's pattern is fall related, so you can make it a young lady in a fall hat, or you can make it a witch. It can be whatever you want it to be. But I know that a lot of us that do fairs and crochet customs and everything else are booked into fall and are booking Christmas. Usually my Christmas orders start in, for me, usually June, May or June. Everybody that gets customs from me usually puts in orders about 5 or 6 months in advance, so they know that they're going to get done in time. So we will have some new patterns coming here shortly. We have some small ones that are going to be coming as decals, and then once the school year starts back up, then I will be designing full-time during the week, so that will make things a little bit easier. Like I said, we just went to the Pittsburgh Zoo and had a really good time and seen all the animals and walked a lot in the heat. And this Nana is exhausted from all of the walking. I have realized quickly how I am not 20 anymore. My brain thinks I am, but my body's telling me that I am not. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we talked about so far? And I know Facebook has a bit of a lag. Yeah, so on my end, it's been a little bit busy. I will be stopping when Hobby Lobby has their next yarn sale. I actually have to look it up because with me being so busy, I have not gone to there in a little while, so I have to figure out which week their yarn is on sale so I can get some of the cotton to do the in the round one, or to do the keyholes towel, depending on which one you guys pick in the polls. I am really liking some of the Halloween patterns that we've released in the block decal that we have going on, the Tunisian knit stitch block. There's going to be 100 small blocks, and those are pick and choose in each week here. Either one is released from myself, or one is released from Deborah, which is Big Mama Strings, and so in the end there's going to be like there's probably going to be over 100 patterns available, because we've designed some that aren't going to be released as freebies, but they are going to be wrapped up into the bulk pattern that we release. It's going to be like an ebook. So let's see, hopefully that answers everybody's questions. Do go over into the group, because for some reason Facebook is not letting us post our links in the event, in the comments below, so we have to go over to the group and post them there. So like I said, when you see Sandra's post that's shared over here of the video, don't click on the video, click up by her name, where she's posted, you know, this is, I can't see from here, but like this is the live from tonight, or whatever she posted with that. You want to click below her name in that area, and then the comments section will open up and you can click on the comments and get the pattern, since they have decided to change things on Facebook. In my nicest trying to be nice and frustrated face. So, I will be stocking up on some cotton for those patterns, and Anna did the spider, the happy spider and the scary spider, in Tunisian knit stitch in the round, and then just seamed the top and the bottom, just like we did the scarf, or not scarves, the stockings. I know Lisa did some of them too. Yes, they cannot leave things alone. It would be so nice to get on for a whole month and like everything be the same, and not come in and be like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. It's gonna take 5 minutes, and then you go in and you try to do it and you're like, oh, great, another learning curve thrown right at me. But yeah, she did those like we did the Tunisian stockings, and she did one spider on one side and one on the other, and then just seamed the top shut to make a hot pad, and those come out fantastic. If you decide to do that, then all of your background stitches are done in your main color, and then all of your stitches that you want to pop to make the design, those are done in the Tunisian reverse stitch. And I probably will do a little post in the group and share her picture and talk about that a little bit. It'll be an informative post. But those are going to be great for Halloween, and they are a decent size. They're like a 10-inch, a 10-inch pad, and you can hang them and decide, if you want what mood you're in that day, because you have two different pictures. So yeah, we have those, and like I said, there's a few new patterns that are going to be coming. I've gotten some designs done, but I got to get the written done, and they updated Adobe a while ago, and it has not been favorable. So a lot of designers are looking for programs outside of Adobe. One starts with an N, but I can't remember what it's called. But merging the patterns together, they have a hiccup in there, and they have not been able to fix it, and it's been about 2 months now. So hopefully something will happen with that, because paying for Adobe and then paying for the other program can kind of get expensive, because you got to wait for your other Adobe to wear out so you're paying on 2 at a time right now, or you've put out the money for 2 separate programs. Are there any questions about anything that we have coming up? Is there something you guys want to see in the group that we don't have? Hey Beth, hey Anna, hey Melinda, Sherry. I got some faces up in the corner, and I can't tell who they are. So if we don't have any questions, I'm going to wrap things up. Like I said, I'm kind of tired. It has been an exhausting 2 days for an old lady to be walking. So I'm going to wrap things up and get a hot shower. Let me know which patterns you guys want to do. If you're excited about the hot pad, if you're excited about the tea towel, or the towel, the keyhole towel. I am excited about both. Because they both are able to have a pattern on them, so that's what makes them super exciting to me. And like I said, with me redoing the kitchen, I want new towels and new embellishments to make it a new kitchen for me, even though we're not changing anything out but a coat of paint and a little bit of decorations. So I'm super excited about those, and having a new color scheme and having new things in here to make it a new kitchen, because for me personally, my kitchen is one of my favorite rooms, because I love to cook. So I am down in the kitchen a lot, and it's kind of my second home away from home in my home, because I love cooking so much. So I'm super excited about all of that, and so we'll see how that goes. And I want to put new flooring down and get a new throw rug, and it's nice. A little at a time, that's all you can do, You can't mess up every room. Binks, quit rubbing up against the stand. You're gonna knock me over. So thank you guys for joining me. I do appreciate your input highly. For those of you that do the tea-cows and join me during the lives, your input holds a little bit more weight. So do make sure you go and vote on that poll, because I do go through and see, how many of you voted for what you wanted on the poll. And like I said, Melinda posted that a couple days ago, so go over and scroll back down through the group a little bit to find that, and give that a like and a comment. And if the poll options, Facebook changes those too, where you can only vote on them for so many days. You can go under and make a comment under there if it's not letting you vote. Alright guys, I hope you have a fantastic evening. Let me know in the comments below what you want to work up, and let me know in the comments below if there's something you want in the group to see as a cow that we haven't had. I'm excited. I have another one coming here shortly that I'm excited about too. It's a little more extensive though. It's going to be a several part cow. Alright guys, I will see you on the flip side. Have a great evening, and I can't wait to see what you guys have in store for us. Bye.